Good evening, folks. It's Carl here. Welcome to Entrepreneurship 3A or ENTP 7311W. And this is the National Support Session for Assignment 1. As always, there's my email address on the screen. Please feel free at any time to drop me an email. I'm always easier to get hold of via email than I am through VC Learn, but you're welcome to contact me through Learn as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to chat you through the first assignment. It's essential that you listen to this before the first assignment. And yeah, we have a bit of time. As I have it according to the PAS, the latest one I've seen, have until the 6th of September, which is about 2.5, 3 weeks, I think. And I know you sort of say, long time, but this assignment is rather a large assignment to tackle, as are the other ones in the semester. And therefore, I want to do this earlier so that you're aware of what you're up against. Basic rules, 23:59, late is late. Consider that we may have load shedding. I know we've not had load shedding for some time, but please consider things that can go wrong. So make sure you're ready, make sure you're able to upload well in advance, and that you've got time to work through what you are handing in. Please remember that this is a third year level, so the expectation is higher than previously. I always in this course have students that come back to me after the first assignment and say, Carl, I always get like 75, 80%. Now I've got a 60%. How does that work? It's not fair and so on. And it's simply the level at which you should be performing has increased now. Please make sure that you put the assignment through SafeAssign. You need to understand what SafeAssign does. It's a similarity checker. So even sometimes if you've got a very high SafeAssign, which you shouldn't for this one, by the way, because of the nature of the assignment, even when you have a high one, it doesn't mean you've plagiarized. It just means it's similar to. And I go look at the actual report and I look at where it comes from before I do anything. Something like 10% is sometimes enough to flag a person, and sometimes 50% isn't enough to flag a person, depending on where it comes from. If you've copied and pasted a paragraph out of a book, yeah, then you have a problem. You've not acknowledged it, you have a problem. I am a stickler for referencing. At a third year level, your referencing should be excellent. If you expect a good mark, your referencing should be excellent. You shouldn't just be using one source, you should be using numerous sources. In this case, you're going to be relying on, and you must rely on Neck and Murray, the prescribed book. However, whatever's in Neck and Murray is also in 2 or 3 other books. So what I want to see is I want you to see you saying, according to Neck and Murray, there are 5 things that constitute whatever it is. The first one is this. Ambrose took this and explained it as blah, blah, blah. In the context of my assignment, this is what it means. The second point that Neck and Murray made is ta-da. And according to Nkosi, in the year, of course, in the South African context, it's important that we consider. So you're going to use Neck and Murray, but you're going to play it off other things. Might as well chat about AI. Please make sure that you understand how AI can be used and what it should be legitimately used for, and when it should not be used or how it should not be used. AI is your friend. You are welcome to use it. You can never put your question that you are asked to answer into AI, and you can never take copy and paste from AI. For the rest, use it. You will see that there's 2 distinct parts to this. You hand in one report. So you hand in a report, and I'll go through all the details of the report with you soon. And you're going to hand in a link to a video. Do not try to upload the video into VC Learn. They will be too big. So go upload it onto YouTube, make it private, share the link with me in your report. So the first thing in your report, link to video, and put the link in there. I'll click on that, I'll go watch your video, and you will be fine. The report itself, 2,000 to 2,500 words. Guys, please stick to that limit. Sorry, and I forgot to mention something at the beginning. I am a bit ill, so if now and again the mic just goes dead, it's probably because I need to cough or blow my nose. I've not been at work the whole week, so Apologies for that, and my voice is probably sounding a bit rough as well. Any case, okay, so that's the key points, let's call them that administrative part of this assignment. Let's talk to the actual assignment itself. The assignment asks you to look at the Sustainable Development Goals. These are goals that the UN met and discussed in, I think it was 2012. And they came up with these 17 goals internationally that they're trying to meet by, I believe it's 2030. South Africa in 2022 said this is interesting. However, we need to look at South Africa, our context, and we need to determine what the things are that's important to us. So for us, we said no poverty. In other words, anybody who's living below the breadline, we need to look at ways of increasing their income, finding ways for them to find a job to be able to look after them and their families. The second priority South Africa identified is zero hunger. Nobody in the country should go to bed hungry in the evenings. No child should go to school hungry. So we need to find ways in feeding more people. Good health and well-being, that goes beyond just having healthcare available. Good health, one always, when you look at these development goals, you tend to think of the poor, and it's not just the poor. Well-being also includes people who have got a job, but that they are emotionally well and even physically well. People working too long hours could be problematic. The next one, gender equality, is number 5. So we need to look at gender equality and how we actually met our obligation towards that. If we look at the composition of our gender in our country, we will see that there are actually slightly more females than males in our country. And guys, I'm just going to work with the traditional genders here. I know there's lots of other genders. I'm just working as the development goals do with the traditional genders. But if you decide to look at this development goal, consider how you're going to bring in the other genders. Clean water and sanitation. In other words, everybody should have sanitation, toilet, some form of toilets, some water, running water, and clean and safe water. And then the last one, which we skipped because it's number 7, but somehow ended up in the middle of my graphic, is affordable and clean energy. So we shouldn't be polluting in terms of making our energy, and people should be able to afford energy. So those are the 7 goals, the 6 goals. There wasn't number 4. They didn't select number 4, which I think is literacy. For the South African context. Now you're going to use 1 to work on. And the instruction for this, and it's actually the instruction for the semester, is to consider an IT application that will address this issue. So firstly, you are not going to build an app. It is outside of the remit of this assignment to build an app. You're going to tell me what an app would look like. You're going to tell me what the app would do, but you're not going to build the actual app. You're not an IT student, right? So the first thing, and this is why I said earlier on that this assignment can take some time to complete. You need to look at those goals and say, what can I come up with? Now, I'm going to give you a couple of examples, and you're probably going to hate me because some of you may then say, but that's what I was going to do. Sorry, if I give it as an example now, you can't choose this. And the zero hunger one, I've seen too many students do the thing where they say, I'm going to get restaurants to donate unused food, and I'm going to then distribute that food to the poor and the hungry. Yeah, that's been overdone. But that's an example of an app. So what the app would do is the app would allow restaurants to log in and say, we have this food. There will then be an organization that picks up the food. Others would be able to log in and say, I don't have food. And that's then how you link the two to each other. Good health and well-being. Apps would basically just geolocate and tell you where the closest clinic is, that kind of thing. And then what was the next one? Clean water, also one that tells you where you can find potable water close to you. So in other words, if you're living in a rural village and there's no water, or you're traveling, you can use the app to determine where is the closest place where there's potable water, in other words, drinking water. Um, those are some of the ones we've seen quite regularly, but there's so many things that you can come up. Be a bit creative. Now, I spoke about AI previously, right? Here is a place where you can legitimately use AI. Choose one of these and ask AI to identify an app or a problem within that field for which an app would be suitable. So say to AI, if we're using the millennium goal of zero hunger, help me generate some ideas of apps. It will then generate an idea depending on how you prompt it, maybe more than one idea. And you can then look at those ideas and you then develop that idea. 100% legitimate use of AI. And I would personally encourage you to use AI in that manner, right? I'm not a lecturer that's afraid of AI. I'm very afraid that my students misuse it. Misuse of it would then be to tell AI now to develop the idea completely for you, because you're not applying your mind, you're not learning anything, right? But to ask AI to come up with an idea and even to discuss the idea with AI. Do you think it would be better to do it this way, or do you think it would be better to do it that way? Why? And you can have a conversation. Please, folks, if you look at our policy on this, which is part of the referencing and plagiarism and referencing policy. I can't remember the page. I think it's 21. You need to keep a record of your discussion with AI. So and you need to acknowledge that you have used AI. If I then ask you, did you use AI, in what manner, you can show me what you did with AI. So please keep that in mind. But yeah, a great place for you to use AI, a place where AI would be, in your future context, ideal to be used. Okay, so now we've got an idea. We've figured out I'm going to build an app that's going to do X, Y, and Z. Not build an app. I am going to develop. I'm going to talk about the app that's going to do X, Y, Z. So what do you now actually have to hand in? The first thing is a presentation that you're going to do for 30 marks. This is a presentation to video. In other words, you're going to do a video, 5 to 7 minutes video. You can decide what the video looks like. Be creative. I'm very happy for you, what you want to do. Standard is students use a set of slides and do a voiceover. You can decide if you want to have a talking head. In other words, you want to show your face on camera, speaking to the camera, then cut away to the slides. You just want to be speaking in the camera. You want to be standing in a classroom with a whiteboard explaining your idea. It's up to you. I want a 5 to 7 minute video that does the following. It's a pitch to government. In other words, you're going to say to government, this is what my app is about, and this is the solution it gives. And I'm going to go into more detail on exactly what you need to touch there. Just what I want to refer back to is the first bullet, supplement B, the pitch deck. Supplement B, the pitch deck and the notes and stuff, is in your textbook, right? It tells you how to pitch an idea. It is a great tool to have, and it's a great thing to work out because it explains to you how does a pitch work and how one should use that pitch. It's something you're going to use this semester, you're going to use it next semester as well. Just work through it, it's good for you. In the second instance, you need to go look at the actual assignment document. In that assignment document, it gives you tools you can use. For example, I think it's Loom that they recommend you use to do the video with. I don't care what tool you use to do the video. It's really up to you how you want to do the video. As long as I have a video with a voice over it that explains to me what's happening, and it does the following things. Let's have a look at the more details of the content. So firstly, you must have a name of the business and the app and a logo for the name. So, sorry, a name of the business, a logo, and a unique name for the app. Guys, once again, when you've got this sorted out and you sort of know what you want to do, go back, ask chat, ask one of the other AIs to help you to generate a couple of names of the business. I've used that quite successfully. For example, when I have a research project and I want a nice snappy title for it, I'll give it the current title that I have. I'll ask it to generate 5 nice, catchy titles. And typically, I don't like any one of the 5. But I'll take, say, title number 2 and title number 3, and I'll make a combination, and then I'll come up with a title that I like. 100% legitimate. In terms of designing the logo, you are not a design student, right? Find one of the AIs that design logos, have it design the logo, bang it in there. It makes your life easy, it makes it look professional. Basically, what you then have to explain is, what does the design look like and what will the usage be of the app, right? Also, you need to explain the development goal, the sustainable development goal you've chosen, and how the app will solve that problem. What is the problem? Throw us some numbers. Now, if we go back and we look at the SDGs, those 6 that we've chosen for South Africa, you are not going to solve poverty. Don't even try. You are not going to be able to make sure that everybody in South Africa has got clean water and sanitation. It's not going to happen. It's too big. So what you need to do with your app is decide, and that's that last bullet, decide which of the sustainable development goals you want to address, and then decide which part. Make it small, make it feasible. Don't make a statement like, and within 3 years there'll be no hunger in South Africa. Because it's not going to happen. An app is not going to do that. Right? And that's part of what I have to look at. How realistic is this idea that you have? Is it something that can work, firstly? And is it going to create the solution that you believe it's going to create? So in other words, take a small slice of that one development goal pie, a small slice, and try to solve that slice, either by only focusing on very one small part, or even by just focusing on a part in a specific region or area. Don't go too big. Keep it small, keep it simple, keep it easy. So that's your presentation. You do the presentation, you're going to record the presentation, upload it. The best place to upload it to, from my experience, is onto YouTube. Do the settings, make it private, share the link with me. But make sure you do it where you can share the link, because there's a setting where you make it private where nobody can see it except yourself. Just make it sure that you choose the one where it's not public, but people that have the link can watch it. And then you just include the link in your assignment, in your report. And that's the second part, the report. So the report in broad has 3 parts: introduction, the body, the conclusion. The synthesis part, right, of the mark, and there are rubrics in your assignment. Please go look at the rubrics, read through the rubrics. I'm not going to go through the rubrics here with you because they are available. I'd rather go through the detail that you've got to address. But the rubric tells you exactly what all the marks are, and the synthesis mark in the rubric will be for how these things speak to each other, how this is one assignment. Excuse me for. Sorry, that was just me needing to have a quick cough and have a drink of water. Again, and then you'll see there's 10 marks that are missing, 30 for the presentation, 60 marks for the report, and then the 10 marks is the general structure, clarity, etc. That's in the rubric as well. Okay, in the report body, what do you have to address? So the first part is, and this runs, if I'm not mistaken, basically the first 2 are from the first learning unit, the third one, sorry, is from learning unit 2, and the 4th one is learning unit 3. So firstly, forms of entrepreneurship. So there's many forms of entrepreneurship. And here it's important to look at what Nick Murray says. These questions here, you cannot Google them. You need to go look at Nick and Murray and look at what they say about this. So They talk about corporate entrepreneurship. They talk about entrepreneurship inside. They talk about franchising, etc. All I'm going to tell you here is we want to solve a social problem. Look at the types. You look at what type of entrepreneurship is best to solve a social problem. That's all I'm going to say about question 1. Question 2, the entrepreneurial method. Neckneck and Murray suggest a specific way of approaching entrepreneurship. And basically their way is just do it, use whatever resources you have, but just do it. But then they suggest, now I must remember the number of phases. I think there's 8 phases, and I'm not calling these steps because the entrepreneurship model does not, or at least the method, does not speak to steps, right? It speaks to method. And in this method, there's no do this first and then that. It's do what you need to do at that point in time. But there's 8 things, if I remember correctly, and that's page 20 or something. They have given you something to work from. The key part here is, once again, use Neckneck and Murray as your key reference. But if you want to do, if you're a student that's looking for a good distinction mark, you've got to take those 8 things and reference them from other sources as well. Neckneck and Murray alone is not going to get you there. Overall, you need probably 5, 6 different sources throughout the assignment if you're looking at a good mark. 2.3, Neckneck and Murray refer to many ways in which you can gain funding. There must be 7 or 8 ways that they talk about from gaining funding, anything from I think it's corporate finance, bootstrapping, finding a family member or friend. All of these stuff, they address numerous things. What you're required to do, and guys, please, you've got to go read the assignment. Just don't just go on what I'm telling you, but what the assignment asks you is to do, to select 3 of these funding methods, and then state which one would you use for the first, what's your first attempt at funding going to be? And then when you've tried that and it doesn't work, what's the second method? What's the third method? So you've got to do 2 things. You're going to select 3 methods and then place them in order of importance. Obviously, you're going to have to explain how you're going to use them, why you're selecting those, why are they applicable for your app, why do you think this is the best way to initially start? And this can be anything, because I think corporate will be interested in it, or I think my family will be happy to give me money. Anything that you want to, as long as when I read it, I can understand where it comes from. I can understand where you found the theory because you've referenced it. Remember, we always work from theory to application. You could show me where you found it in the theoretical world. In other words, you've referenced it. You've used 2 or 3 reference sources, and then you've gone and said, but and in this case, this is why. This is how I am going to use this funding method to work for me. Last section is a rather large part of work that you need to look at. This is, I think, the 3rd learning unit. You need to look at segmentation. So you need to take the market, say what segments there are in the market, how big are these segments, who is your customer within that segment, and how you're going to access that customer. All of this is explained in the textbook. So you need to do those 4 things in the last question. And then you've got to end this with a closing statement or something, because remember, if we go back to right up here, you've got an introduction, you have a body, and you have a conclusion. The intro you write in general about what is this about. The body, you answer those 4 questions. The conclusion, you conclude, summarize, and make a closing statement. Guys, and that's it. That's the complete assignment. I don't have anything more for you. I'm happy to either field questions now if there are any questions. I'm happy to look at email questions, but I want to encourage you to please go read the assignment as soon as possible. For you to make a 5 to 7 minute video is quite a long time, right? You will probably find that you're not going to get it right the first time. If you've got editing skills, or you can use some software to cut and paste things in, it makes your life easier. If you're like me and you have to do this in a one take, you're going to have to practice it. You're going to have to build the slides and everything. And then you haven't started doing the assignment yet, eh? My gut feeling is sort of have a sense of get your app figured out in your head, figure out what you're going to do, what you want to solve, then go write the theoretical part or the actual assignment, the report that you're going to hand in. Write that report up, answer those 4 questions. Then go build your slides to sell this app to government. Once you've built the slides, do your recording, go back, go write your introduction, write your conclusion, and go make your report pretty, stick it into SafeAssign, upload onto YouTube, put the YouTube link into your report, and then submit your report. Guys, that's all I have. Are there any questions? Okay, if there's no questions, I'm going to call it a day. Thank you very much for those that joined. I'll upload the recording. I'll also send a notification out. Please feel free to email me if you have any questions or you're unsure about anything. Thank you and good night.